Welcome to our Why Eat Plant series, where we're going to present a chronic illness to discuss and how a plant-based meal can either reduce your symptoms or actually prevent any further symptoms. Hi, my name is Dr. Vanessa Greer, and I am a nurse practitioner with over 35 years of experience in internal medicine and preventive medicine. This is the first of a 6-part series you're not going to want to miss that will be presented to discuss how a plant-based diet can enrich and support healthful living. This series is not meant to make you vegetarian, but it's meant to finding the very best diet for reaching your personal goals. For myself, I want a whole, unprocessed, plant-based diet to be the core foundation of my meals Monday through Friday. This means that there will be variations in my diet when we go out to eat, when we travel, maybe the environment changes. Maybe you're on vacation in a place that doesn't have a lot of fruits and vegetables and has different plant proteins. So very interesting, worldwide, God has created a fruit, a nut, and a vegetable all over the world. You have these plant-based proteins that are available. In some places in the world, there are inconsistent sources of protein and calcium. Dairy and eggs at that time, and sometimes fish, are consumed in supplementing the diet, particularly for children and pregnant women and elderly people. So today, we're going to discuss cancer prevention. You may know somebody in your family that has cancer or a friend that's had cancer. The recipes that we're going to demonstrate are going to help support prevention and healthful living. We're advocating the use of the full plate meal planning as created by Ardmore Institute. It's a plate, and half of it's fruits and vegetables, and the other half is plant proteins, and also plants that are high in minerals and vitamins. We will build this plate throughout the program. So let's talk about cancer prevention, because we're seeing more and more people dying from cancer all around us, actually. Most people know somebody that's died of cancer. On a recent flight, I sat next to a woman who brought up a number of people who died during the pandemic, COVID pandemic. And we were talking about how both of our families had kind of suffered a lot of these deaths. She went on to tell me the worst part was that her 19-year-old daughter, she lost her daughter 3 years ago, but it wasn't from COVID. She had just graduated from high school. She was at the beginning of her life and was trying to figure out what she wanted to do, what direction she wanted to go. But one day she suddenly had abdominal pain. And the mom said the next 3 months, she explained, was terrible. She took her daughter to the emergency department where they did CT scan of her abdomen, and they found a large grapefruit-sized tumor in her stomach. And that came back, the biopsy came back as stage 4 colon cancer. She was admitted to the hospital, and they immediately started chemotherapy on her. Within the next month, she thought things were getting better, the cancer started improving, only suddenly there was an increase in the cancer, and she ended up losing her battle. Even with aggressive treatment, her daughter's life ended at 3 months. So I asked her, what do you think was your daughter's risk? What happens when a young lady loses her life at the age of 19? She said the only risk factor that my daughter had was she was very overweight. Looking at the current reality is that approximately 20,000 people in the U.S. under the age of 50 years of age in their 20s, 30s, and 40s will be diagnosed this year with stage 3-4 cancers. And an estimated 3,750 young adults will die. That's young people, like my kids' age. The trend has been a 2% increase in cancer diagnosis per year since 1990 in young adults. These are young adults, they're just starting their life, their prime of their life, starting their careers. They have young families with children. Maybe they're caring for an ill parent even. In a report by Dr. Kimmy Ning, the director of Young Onset Colorectal Cancer Center at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Southern California, he reports that colorectal cancer is rapidly shifting to a younger age diagnosis. The American Cancer Society also released this information this year. This has become the deadliest of cancers found in young adults, early onset cancers. Statistically, there is an expected increase by 90% by the year 2030, says Dr. Kimmy Ning. Over the last decade, many families didn't have time to prepare meals at home. Everything was fast food or convenience food, grabbing and going processed foods. And Dr. Ning says they're not sure what's causing this, but we have to look at the diet that's occurred over the last 2 to 3 decades. There's other factors that occur when you eat poor food intake. You have vitamin deficiencies, such as vitamin D low, and also B12, the high consumption of red meat, which also causes obesity, defined as a body mass index greater than 30. A study published in 2021 found that females who consumed more than 2 sugary drinks per day had more than double the risk of early onset colorectal cancer compared to women who drank less than 1 drink per day. And a study published by Recently suggests people who eat lots of fresh and minimally processed foods are less likely to develop colon cancer compared to people who consume lots of ultra-processed foods. So what's the ultra-processed food? Well, that's processed meats, sweet desserts, carbonated drinks. There's lots of these sports drinks. They have a lot of sugar in them. Ready-to-eat meals, frozen meals. There's tons of frozen meals at the supermarket now. In the Journal of American Medical Association, they completed a cohort study of more than 500,000 patients. They were younger than 50 years old, which found a majority of those cancers that they had were gastrointestinal. So in the stomach, or somewhere between the mouth and the stomach, the intestines, all the way down to the rectum. Dr. Ning and her colleagues agree early onset cancers are digestive system cancers. Many of these cancers are associated with obesity, which has catapulted in the last 30 years. Some years ago, the World Health Organization, International Agency for Research on Cancer, classified processed meats, that's like bologna, turkey slices, hot dogs, they classified them as carcinogenic or cancer-causing. To humans, with red meat most likely identified as carcinogenic. The decision was based on 800 related studies by 22 experts in 10 countries with an interest in food security and health. The meat consumption was directly linked to 2 main sites of cancer, colon and rectum. And I'm going to tell you, I worked in the ER where more than I wanted to see, I found rectal and colon cancer. First time they found it. First time they had any symptoms. It's the second leading cause of cancer death in the United States, just after lung cancer. There are further associated observed concerns for pancreatic cancer and prostate cancer, and I think some of this research is going to show and directly relate diet to that. The conclusions found for each 50-gram portion, or a 1/3 of a cup of processed meat eaten, the cancer risk increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. That's pretty high. This information confirms the Seventh-day Adventist research into the plant-based diet conducted by Loma Linda University. An analysis of Adventist Health Study published in the Journal of American Medical Association Internal Medicine indicated a vegetarian diet might reduce a person's cancer risk of colorectal cancer by 22%. Again, that's very high in contrast. Researchers at Loma Linda University Health found that eating a plant-based diet offers significant protection against cancers of the colon and rectum. You have to think, food goes in your mouth, goes into your esophagus, goes into your stomach, goes out to the small intestines, goes into the large intestines, and then comes out the end through the rectum. So the foods we eat are either going to protect us or they're going to be a problem for us. Scientific evidence seems to link red meat and processed meat to the higher risk of colorectal cancer. Conversely, the diet in high fiber, plant fiber, is linked to lower risk of cancer. The lead researcher from Loma Linda University, Dr. Michael Orlich, reports vegans, lacto-ovo-vegetarians, and pesco-vegetarians in their study all avoided red meat and processed meats and ate increased amounts of a variety of whole plant foods. Our meal today is going to demonstrate how we can use whole foods in improving our health. And we hope you come back to watch that. Our recipe today is crispy chickpea tossed salad. So we're going to start putting this together, and there's like 3 levels to this recipe. The first part is the crispy chickpeas that we want to prepare. So we're going to start with just putting our chickpeas, and you'll see on the screen what the ingredients are, so you can follow along if you want. We're going to put the chickpeas into a bowl. Then we will be adding 1 tablespoon of olive oil. This olive oil actually has garlic in it also, so if you like that flavor, you can mix that in. We're just going to coat. We want to coat the chickpeas because we want the seasoning to stick to the chickpeas because we're going to make them crispy. Then you're going to put ground cumin. Just sprinkle it in because you're going to coat the chickpeas. Then you're going to add ground coriander. And then we're going to put a little bit of, it's like a half a teaspoon of fine sea salt we're going to put in here. And then what you're going to do is you are going to make sure that these are really coated, and then it's going to be spread out onto a cookie sheet. You can use one of those silicone pads on top or parchment paper, and then bake it in the oven for 400, and every couple minutes you want to toss them and move them around so that they dry completely, and it could take up to like 30 minutes to get them nice and crispy. So in the essence of time, we're just going to move these out of the way, and we're going to start making our salad. Now, so what if you don't have time to make the crispy chickpeas yourself? Well, guess what? The supermarket has everything for us. We have so many healthy foods in our supermarket now, we really don't have an excuse to eat healthy. So this is a bag of chickpeas that are crunchy, and the flavor is sea salt. So these come in different flavors, but this is something that you can buy that you can use for your salad. So the next part is we're going to go ahead and make our salad. So we want to use a very dark green salad or lettuce. So this is romaine, but you can use like a butter lettuce or a red lettuce. Then we're going to add 1 roasted orange bell pepper, chopped. Remember, we talked about how the colors are very important to our nutrition also. So we're going to add that. Then we're going to add 2 cups of green cabbage. And then we're going to add 2 cups of red cabbage. Again, look at how colorful this is becoming. We're just mixing up all these vegetables together here. Just make it as many green things as possible. You can add that. Some people don't like cilantro flavor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the dressing. So the dressing is going to be a half a cup of tahini. Now tahini is sesame butter. It's actually sesame seeds. And then a 1/4 cup of water. And 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And I don't know if you know that a half of a lemon has a teaspoon of lemon juice. That's kind of how you measure it. and half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. And the last thing is a teaspoon of maple syrup. Maple syrup really adds a delightful taste to a lot of dressings. It's just that little bit of sweetness that you need. And then we're just going to whisk this up a little bit. And it's going to get nice and creamy. It's going to be, if you like creamy salad dressing, this is going to be a nice creamy salad dressing. Salad dressings have a lot of calories when you buy them over the counter at the supermarket or you go out to eat. So this is a way to have a healthy salad. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in there. It's kind of like a coleslaw, but you've got a lot of healthy vegetables in here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually make a healthy mayonnaise, because a lot of people struggle with, what do I put on my sandwich? I'm used to eating mayonnaise or a salad dressing or some type of dressing that has oil and egg in it. So we're going to show you that here next. So let's look at how can we make a healthy mayonnaise, something that can be used for a sandwich, in a salad like potato salad, can be used to make a dip. It can even be used as a cream sauce. So we're going to start with some tofu. It's a brick of tofu. Moru tofu is the best tofu in the firm form, but this works. This is the tofu that comes in water. So we're going to go ahead and put that into the blender here. We're then going to add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And if you want to make this like a sour cream, I would tell you to add more lemon juice. The lemon juice is what makes it sour, like a sour cream. And if you want to use it for dips, it's really nice to use it that way. And then we're going to put the 3 tablespoons of olive oil in. And then a quarter teaspoon of citric acid. And then you could add whatever salt that you want to this. Now you don't have to use citric acid. Citric acid makes gives it another little bit of tartness, like a sour cream, but only a quarter teaspoon is all you need. You can get that at most health food stores, or just increase the lemon juice. That's fine too. Then we're going to put this on. I would encourage you to get a good blender that blends really well. And then we're just going to turn this on. It's going to be a little noisy for a minute here. Now, in addition, you can add, this is a ranch seasoning that I also made. And this includes 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of dried dill, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of dried onion flakes, a teaspoon of dried chives, and a teaspoon of fine sea salt. And I'm going to add that, and I'm going to make a ranch dressing now that can be used all week in our salads. So the detail for this is in making sure that it's smooth and that you've blended it till it's smooth. And it's actually got the color of a ranch dressing. So we hope you've enjoyed this recipe, these 2 recipes today, for the crispy chickpea salad and a tofu mayonnaise that you can use in multiple ways. Thank you.